bitch!
Chia, what's good? It's your boy, Dirtbag Dan. Blogs every day. Wanted to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart. Something that I purchase or that I pay for monthly that I feel like has changed my life in a very positive way. And I figure maybe I can give you guys some information and change your life in a positive way too. So what I'm talking about, of course, is the Marvel Unlimited app. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, comic books, bitch. As some of you guys know, I'm a huge fan of the comic books. I geek out on that shit. I was a big fan of the comic books when I was a kid, but I was like more into like the characters and collecting than the actual stories. But as an adult, I read hours of comic books a week, like no shit. And one thing that has helped me save a bunch of money is this Marvel Unlimited app. When I started reading comic books, I was just kind of like trying to catch up on all like the series that I missed, or like the big sagas, or individual characters that I fucked with heavy. Like in the beginning, I was just like ordering Deadpool books, and then getting like the Walking Dead compendiums. And another comic book that I kind of got me back into comic books was and actually not a Marvel comic book, an Image comic book called Invincible that Robert Kirkman makes, the same guy who does Walking Dead. It's fucking awesome. If any of y'all have never read Invincible, I seriously recommend picking that up. And you're not going to find that on the Marvel Unlimited app. But I digress. So, like, I was paying a lot of money for these books via, like, Amazon, eBay, having them mailed to my house. And then I have all these books. And it's not like I don't like having comic books, but realistically, like, it's not about collecting for me anymore. And oftentimes, I just end up letting my friends borrow them, and I don't even like ask about them, because it's like I have that, knowledge in my head, and I'm on to the next thing. So the thing about the Marvel Unlimited app, let me break it down for you. Like what you're paying for, either like $10 a month, or I think you could pay like $70 for a whole year, is unlimited access to Marvel's entire catalog, short of some of the more like violent shit like Punisher Max, which is unfortunate because I love those books. But most of the catalog, like the vast majority of the catalog, all the way up until like 6 months back. So anything that came out in the last 6 months, you still have to go to stores to get, which is a bummer. But if you're like me, it's like I'm not communicating with folks day to day that are up on comic books to the degree where they can like spoil shit for me. So I'm 6 months back behind people that are like going to the stores and buying the trade paperbacks, but it's all good because none of the shit is getting ruined for me. And once I bought this app, I did the annual thing, and it was actually, I was coming back from World Domination, the last one, and I purchased the app. I had already been paying month to month, but I was just like, I had a little money, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just do the year or whatever. And since then, man, I probably have read 20 books a week, easy. When they have new drops that come out every Monday, and you get like, sometimes it'll be like 10, sometimes it'll be like 15, sometimes it'll be like 5 comic books that I read specifically, series that I'm following. And then it's not like that's all they drop. And they end up dropping tons of shit every week, because it's not only like the new shit that's coming out that's catching up on that 6 months back, but it's also they'll highlight stuff that they put out in the 90s that was real popular, or like whatever. Like a lot of times it'll be in line with whatever the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is putting out, or like TV. So like when Iron Fist came out, there was a bunch of old Iron Fist books to read and stuff like that. But it's there's so much shit to read, so I'll end up reading like the new books that I'm fucking with, and then there'll always be like a current or a series that I'm fucking with currently that's like an older series that's already done, and I'll just read all the way through it or whatever. And they suggest shit all the time. They'll have like authors that suggest comic books, and I found so many cool books like that I would have never read. The Next Wave, I would say, is probably the most recommended comic book and the most like highly praised comic book among authors of comic books. If you've never read that book, The Next Wave is like a really quirky comic book team that has like Robot Man and Monica Rambeau and a bunch of like random Elsa, Bloodstone, like the Monster Hunter, just a bunch of random Marvel characters. And they really, like, you could tell they just were like, go ahead and fuck around, you know, do whatever you want. And this was, I think this run was taking place during the first Marvel Civil War, and like they have a Civil War tie-in that has nothing to do with the Civil War, but is like totally like marketed as a tie-in. It's great, man. There's so many things they do like that where they're just like middle finger to the fan, but it like makes you happy. I don't know, but yeah, the Marvel fucking Unlimited app, man. I there was 12 books that dropped today that I'm reading, and currently I'm reading the Civil War 2, and I also was able to go back with the app and read all of the different like major Marvel mega events that I had missed, starting with the newest Secret Wars, because that had like just dropped and just became available on the Unlimited app when I started reading off of the phone, which is like, to me, it's so much easier like to read on my phone or on my iPad on a plane or whatever than to carry around a bunch of comic books. I feel like a fucking 2-year-old when I pull a trade paperback out of my backpack on a plane and like sitting next to adults and fucking reading comic books. That's embarrassing. But all of the events like of the last 10 years I've read, Planet Hulk, the OG Civil War I had actually the hard copy of, but I was able to go back and read all of the individual little parts of the Civil War that weren't attached to the main storyline. Like the main storyline is like six comic books. Same thing with like the Civil War 2. Like right now I'm reading a bunch of random shit that I never read before because it's free to me and it's tied into this huge event. And I'm finding new comic books like X-23, the new Wolverine. I never read any of that. And then I started to read it as it connected to Old Man Logan and the new Civil War. And now I'm like fucking just reading this book, you know? Same thing with Iron Man. The last Iron Man series into the new Iron Man series, which is the infamous Iron Man, and it's Victor Von Doom as Iron Man. Holy shit, so good. And I never really got into Iron Man as like a hero. I don't know. I always stayed away from like the obvious heroes for everybody, but it's like there's a reason why those dudes are popular, you know? I still can't really fuck with Spider-Man for whatever reason. Like I'll end up reading Spider-Man shit as it ties into the Civil War, but like it's I don't know. The Peter Parker storyline to me is so fucking convoluted, and there's so many random characters that I don't give a fuck about. 3 recommendations to anybody who's gonna download this app or who reads comic books and wants to read like some amazing Marvel books. The first one would be The Next Wave. That shit's great. It's only, I can't remember how many books it is. It's not a lot. It's not enough. It's amazing. The first series that I fell in love with when I started using this app, and then you'll start like binge reading comic books where you'll be like in public with your friends and you're reading this comic book because you're so fucking like stuck in the story, and you're like, I can do this right now. Like, why wait? I'll just fucking read it now. Secret Warriors, which is what they based Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on, which it's such a poor representation of the actual comic book. But Secret Warriors, where it's Nick Fury kind of in the place of Agent Coulson, and you have Daisy Quake and the other popular characters from that series, but it's way more like James Bondy, super like spy, double cross, secret agent shit. And that's, I think, my favorite shit of the Marvel stuff is when you get into like the regular guys who are just on some super spy shit, like Nick Fury. And what else? The Thanos Imperative. And the Thanos's origin story is so dark and creepy, and his like relationship with death and the way they lay that out. And I think it's really cool because that's going to be something that's like a central to the Marvel cinematic universe, and they really couldn't have picked a better villain than Thanos. I truly believe he is the greatest villain in the all of comic books. You know what I mean? Sometimes they talk about like whether Darkstar is as powerful or whatever as Thanos, and it's like maybe, but he's definitely not as fucking cool. Thanos is the coolest fucking villain ever. He's just like this, uber goon who's in love with power and death, and really is like kind of crazy and like insane, and I don't know. I think that if you read the Thanos imperative, like specifically, it is a great storyline and kind of shines a light on him as a villain individually. Yeah. So okay, I think I've nerded out enough about comic books. This is a blog a day with Dirtbag Dan. I'm not always going to be talking about like actual, factual, tangible things like the Marvel Unlimited app. Sometimes I'll just be talking about like shit I feel or think or whatever. So yeah, hope you guys like this shit. Let me know. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about the Marvel app if you have it already, or what comic books that you read, and then also let me know what other things you'd like to hear me blog about, because I'm going to be doing this every fucking day. Peace.